I'm really glad to be able to be hosting this this event about the importance of biomedical engineering in advancing European Union health priorities. So first, I will give some short opening remarks, and then we will continue with the rest of the panelists. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Tomislav Sokol. I'm the member of European Parliament, member of the ENVI Committee, Committee on Environment, Public Health and Food Safety. I'm also the member of the new specially established Committee on COVID-19, learning from the purpose of which is the learning from the experience of the COVID-19 to prevent something like this from happening in the future. And I'm glad that I'll be able to say something about European Union health policy and its priorities. So first, what I would like to emphasize when we speak of European Union health policy and priorities is the fact that traditionally healthcare has been a marginal topic within the ambit of European Union institutions and European Union actions. This has the reason for this that was usually stated was the fact that according to the European Union founding treaties, healthcare was primarily a national competence, and we have concrete provisions in the European Union Treaty on the Functioning of the EU, Article 168, which says that financing and organization of healthcare systems is a national priority. However, it is the fact that the fact is that despite of this kind of division of competences, European Union has a lot of regulatory and financial possibilities to advance certain health priorities and to influence member states' actions in the area of healthcare and to be able to achieve better health outcomes and better results of healthcare systems. However, this political atmosphere, which used this division of competences as an alibi not to do a lot in the area of healthcare on EU level, has changed. Of course, the main reason for this has been the COVID-19 pandemic, but also apart from that, the initiative which was started by European People's Party, of which I'm a member of, and that is the creation of the Europe's Beating Cancer Plan and the making the beating cancer and fighting cancer one of the European Union policy priorities. So this whole situation with the cancer and of course with COVID-19 pandemic has really changed the overall atmosphere in the European Union in terms of healthcare. So healthcare has really become one of the main topics of discussions on the European Union level. So when we speak of priorities, and advancing European Union health priorities in the area of healthcare, the first question obviously is to define what is so we don't have one strategic document determining all healthcare priorities of European Union. However, when we speak of the priorities, I believe that we have a lot of sources by now which define actually what European Union wants to do in the area of healthcare. So I think the first priority that we can discuss in terms of healthcare on EU level is preparedness for future crises. So COVID-19 has shown us that the European Union member states and the European Union as a whole were not really prepared for such a pandemic, for such a public health crisis that happened. And definitely the main priority in the future will be to create a much better system of preparedness, of early response, and of monitoring and early warning of pandemics, if such pandemics occur in the future. And of course, the main actions that have been already undertaken included the creation of HERA, strengthening of the ECDC, EMA, and all the other European Union agencies which deal with healthcare. The second important priority that can be, I believe, highlighted is in the area of cancer. So we have Europe's Beating Cancer Plan. We have the European Parliament's report on beating cancer, which I contributed as the BECA committee, Special Committee on Beating Cancer, and I believe that that beating cancer as the second cause of death in European Union definitely will be something that will be very important for European Union in the years to come. When we speak of beating cancer, what is important is that this plan covers all phases of beating cancer, which means starting from prevention, early detection, treatment, but also survivorship and taking care of people who survived cancer. And what I believe, however, that the main topic here, but the main topic in general should be, and this is something that I'm also advocating in the European Parliament, is the problem of equality of access. So the quality and the access to healthcare, quality of healthcare provision, and standards of healthcare provision across the European Union are not the same. So there are very big differences in terms of health outcomes, in terms of prevalence of certain diseases, in terms of surviving certain diseases. For instance, there are 30 to 40% bigger chances of dying from cancer if you were born in some regions of Eastern Europe than in Western or Northern Europe. So I believe that using EU tools to facilitate equal access to healthcare, to create a level playing field in terms of increasing standards and the quality of healthcare across the European Union, to have more or less equal or similar standards will be one of the main priorities of the EU, and this is something that is really being discussed a lot at the moment. And the one final point that I would also like to mention here when we discuss priority is autonomy. So the necessity for European Union not to be dependent on production of certain medical devices, medical products, of certain ingredients, of certain medical products from other countries. Because we see also from the experience of the Ukraine conflict and Russian aggression on Ukraine, that being dependent on third players, third countries like China, Russia, whatever, is very dangerous. Because in case of a crisis, be it war, pandemic, or something else, definitely such sources of supply become very risky. So it becomes very questionable whether European Union is able to secure these necessary resources from such third countries, which means that we have to think on the European Union level about what to do to increase our strategic autonomy, that we are not so dependent on other countries, on other players, on production from other parts of the world. And this is something that has been highlighted in the European Union pharmaceutical strategy, which specifically emphasizes this point. So these I believe are the most important European Union health priorities. So what can we do in terms of biomedical engineering? I think that biomedical engineering has a very important role to play as research and innovation in the area of healthcare in general. So healthcare costs are rising. Our life expectancy is much longer and longer, which is definitely a good thing. But this obviously creates new health needs, new needs of the healthcare systems, and the only way to tackle this is through research and innovation. So I believe that what the European Union has to do is to create a framework, an ecosystem where research and innovation will be facilitated and not hampered by too much bureaucracy, too much administration, too much unnecessary regulation, and all the other things that the European Union is unfortunately very well known for. So what are these instruments? So what I would like to mention, obviously, we have the medical devices regulation, which was adopted 5 years ago. I think it is very important, but of course we have to see how it will be implemented also in the future, and to use this to determine whether any changes are needed. The second point that I would like to make, the second very important piece of legislation that was recently adopted, is the regulation on health technology assessment. This health technology assessment regulation is very important because its primary purpose was to create one-stop shop, let's say, so that innovators, that companies which create new medical technologies do not have to go through 27 different regulatory processes of approving new medical technologies in their healthcare systems. So to have one European system instead of having to undergo 27 different national procedures. Unfortunately, after long negotiations with the Council, the final result is a compromise which I believe falls short of this objective that I mentioned. Why? Because according to the final version that was adopted, this this regulation only when prescribing obligations on part of the member states, it only says that member states have to take into account the results of the health technology assessment on European level, which means they can do it, but they do not have to do it. And of course, such a system really does not contribute to legal certainty and allows member states to still have their own national different policies and procedures when introducing new health technologies to their healthcare systems. Also, this HTA regulation does not cover reimbursement of new medical technologies, meaning the procedures for determining whether a new medical technologies will be financed by national healthcare system of a member state. And this is very unfortunate because the only piece of legislation which we currently have which regulates this is the so-called Transparency Directive from 1989, which is outdated and definitely not fit for its purpose. So what I believe that further legislative steps and revision of this legal framework is necessary so that we facilitate introduction of new medical technologies into healthcare systems, but not just putting them on the market, but actually making decisions about reimbursement from national health insurance funds. Because the big majority of healthcare spending in the EU is from the national health insurance funds of the member states, and still in this area still enormous differences exist, different national policies, different national priorities, different national procedures when determining whether to adopt new health technologies into their national social security healthcare packages. And this situation, this is, I believe, not sustainable in the long run. So that was about the most important regulatory framework. What I would also like to mention is the financial framework. So EU also has a lot of financing at its disposal to facilitate introduction of new technologies, including results of biomedical engineering into healthcare systems. Of course, the most important legal financial instrument in that regard is Horizon. So the new Horizon for the next budgetary period, one of the clusters of Horizon is devoted to health, and also one of the priority missions is beating cancer, which means that healthcare now will become one of the policy priorities in terms of funding from Horizon. And I believe that this also creates new opportunities to develop new projects funded from the EU in the area of biomedical engineering as well. There is also the EU for Health program, the new budgetary program of the European Union, which is 12 times bigger than previous budgetary program in the previous budgetary period 2014 to 2020. So now for the period until 2027, we have 5.3 billion euros at our disposal. Most of this money will probably be allocated to HERA and for creating for strengthening responsiveness and preparedness for future crises. But I hope that also at least part of it can be also devoted to research, to introduction of new technologies, biomedical engineering included. And the last point, which is also important as a spending source, is cohesion policy. You know that cohesion policy is the main financial instrument to reduce inequalities in European Union, inequalities in terms of the level of economic and social development. And a lot of this money has also been allocated to healthcare. Around 25 billion euros was allocated to healthcare from cohesion policy for the period 2014 to 2020. So since we now have even more money at our disposal for the next budgetary period, I believe that a lot of this funding should also be used to stimulate research, top quality research and innovation in the member states, especially creating, funding the necessary equipment and the personnel and workforce, which is necessary to conduct research in all the member states. And I believe that European Union can also do a lot in terms of promoting new technologies and new advancements in biomedical engineering as well. So to sum up, I think this is an important event. This event highlights the need and the priority that we have to give to new technologies, to innovation in the area of healthcare. I believe this is the only way if we want to improve our health outcomes and create better healthcare systems for our patients and for our citizens. I believe, despite this division of competences, that the European Union has a lot of instruments at its disposal now to do this, and I'm looking forward to working together with you, with all the stakeholders, to making European Health Union a reality and making European Union much more important in the area of healthcare than it currently is. So thank you very much again, and I look forward to hearing the other speakers.